Amhec is not against Ambazonians going out to talk. We cannot solve a problem by not talking. And Amhec is not to tell Ambazonians if to go and talk or not to go to the talks. Amhec supports every initiative that brings Ambazonians together and that will bring peace to our people. I'm hoping that Ambazonians will look at the big picture of what Amhec can do and not just the small details. So I want us, before we go into the bylaws and why we crafted the bylaws, I want that Ambazonians should be able to speak up, criticize, direct, open your minds and ask questions like, why Amhec now? Why not other groups? Is this the right time? And the governance, okay, so that people understand exactly what Amhec is about. So first things first, Amhec is focused on the people that inhabit the territory that is in dispute. The territory which is in dispute is the territory of Southern Cameroons, which is provided by the UN. The independence of that territory was voted on April 21st, 1961. That is a fact. We have it in the UN annals, so we know that that territory existed in history. Now, in 1961, October, we had the Republic of Southern Cameroons that went into a union with the Republic of Cameroons. That is also Article 56 of the 1961 Constitution. So those things are facts which no Ambazonian should dispute, or no human being on earth can dispute those facts. So the idea of a sovereign people existing should not even be up to question us trying to refer to ourselves as the British Southern Cameroon or the UN Trust Territory. No. All those things ended in 1961, and the proof is there is a UN vote dated April 1921 that voted for the independence of Southern Cameroons. So we should be able to have those things.
Small correction, 1961, not 21.
Oh, sorry,
by joining.
That was just a misspoke. So yeah, that's a fact. So that's one thing I wanted us to clear. Now, coming back to Amhec today, let's keep the past a little bit aside so that we can focus on what we are having today. So today, when you talk about Israel or Jews or Taiwan, the first thing is, if somebody asks you to talk to meet a Jew, you go to a Jewish center. You don't care if that person is an Orthodox Jew, a Zionist, a liberal, or a good party. You just know you're going to meet Jews there. What Amhec is trying to do is not replacing political opinions. No. Amhec is trying to bring the identity. If there's anything we're going to forget, one thing we should remember is we want to highlight the identity of the people in that district, in those areas under occupation. We have an identity. We are a people, and we are the people from Ambasbay and hinterland. You can call us Ambazonians, you can call us Southern Cameroonians, but we are a people. So when we talk about the suffering, we should highlight that we are talking about the suffering of a people, not the suffering of a territory. It is first of all a people before a landmass. So that is one of the things I wanted to emphasize on. And then the last thing again that I want us to look at clearly is that Amhec is fashioned as a secretariat. The reason it is fashioned as a secretariat is because Ambazonians cannot exist as a political entity without having a diplomatic problem with any country that they exist in. And I'm going to be very straight up. People will say, but why can't you subscribe to one of the IGs? The truth is, for you to be a government, you must be accredited to be in a territory. The territory that you are in must give you what they call a clearance for you to even function, for you to open up bank accounts and stuff like that. So there's a whole diplomatic protocol that was laid down by the by the UN Convention. So we should be able to speak those truths to our people and understand that for us to have an identity, we must exist, first of all, as a people. And that people is a legal reality, it's a historical reality, it's a geographical reality. So once we go like that, we don't have to get double guess if we are a people, we are Southern Cameroons, we are a former trust territory. No, there is a law that states who we are. So we can not just be around the bush and not know what we are doing. So that's the first thing. So, and then the reason why we came up with Amhec was because of economic reasons. And this is very important. We have Ambazonians that belong to different LGAs, different groups, different beliefs. Okay? We have Muslims, Christians, African traditionalists. But what we want to do is, we want to project the Ambazonian nationality, the Ambazonian identity above any other group. So, for example, if you find yourself in Las Vegas, you don't need to go and look for an IG office, an AGOPC office, an LGA office, a Meta office, a Bamboo office. All you need to do is you go to a center. In that center, you can now have a repertoire of all the political entities, all the cultural entities, all the historical documents you need to know about our people. So the Secretariat will not only be for political ventures. No, it's going to replace our identity, our culture. So this is a one, it's like a mall, like in a shopping mall that we are trying to create, that Ambazonians are in. You can have the political platform in it, you can have the cultural platform, you can have the economic platform. So that is why we came up with that brilliant name, the Ambasbay Heritage and Economic Center. So it protects the heritage of all of our people. It's not just limited to the political scope. So this is why I'm trying, this is the vision we have when we talk about the Ambasbay. So we don't want to be limited just to the political aspect of our people. Before being a political people, we are a social people. We have a heritage, we have a culture that needs to be preserved. And this goes through with what they call soft diplomacy. So I'm hoping that Ambazonians will look at the big picture of what Amhec can do and not just the small details. So I want us, before we go into the bylaws and why we crafted the bylaws, I want that Ambazonians should be able to speak up, criticize, direct, open your minds and ask questions like, why Amhec now? Why not other groups? Is this the right time? Give your opinion, and then we can give everybody like 2 minutes. Please try to keep it in the 2 minutes so that everybody leaves here with an answer that is satisfactory and not come back second guessing if they are actually, if what we are saying is what we mean. Thank you very much. I will yield to the coordinator or the MC.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now.
It's a brilliant idea, and I want to congratulate all of you who sat on the drawing board to come up with this concept. Actually, in Norway, when we had started this similar concept, Southern Cameroon's indigenes, Norway, where we thought of having a secretariat where we bring all Southern Cameroonians, irrespective of their political inclinations. And then within the group, within the secretariat, everyone can campaign, sell their groups, sell their projects. But group polarization destroyed everything. So I don't know how you people are going to manage this. But when I hear you floating the idea of a referendum, I think you would be like putting a rope around your legs. Just my thoughts. Over.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry if I can come in again. Just to respond to what Emmanuel said. Please, the idea of a referendum, the way I see it is this way. And when it comes to negotiation, there's always give and take. If it gets to a point, what is the lesser evil? To me, that lesser evil is that referendum. Because La Republic is not going to come in and sit on the negotiation table and accept you to just go ahead and say, okay, take your country. You will have to beat and you will have to work extremely hard to get to that point. But it can get to a point where you say, okay, because it's give and take. You have to concede something. If it gets to that point, what do you do? So I will think that a referendum will be
Next person. C, you have another person on the list?
No, those were the two hands that were up. So if you need to say something, please raise your hand, or maybe, okay, I have Miss, okay.
There are some, sorry for interrupting you. There are some questions in the chat, so please, maybe you can go through.
Okay, so Mrs. Anastasia's hand is up now. Then let me go to the chat. Let's see what's in there.
Okay, maybe I will get to look at the bylaws later, because it's already very late and tomorrow I have to go to work. So I will not to listen to the presentation of the bylaws, if that's okay with you.
It's okay. It's okay. Sorry for the lateness. Next time we will try to schedule the meeting a little bit earlier so that we can accommodate you guys in Europe and in Africa and in Asia.
Okay, and one quick question, if I should ask, real quick. We will not examine the bylaws. We will just do the Q&A and then we'll provide, I don't know if we should provide copies of the bylaws so that people examine, give in their own ideas, and then we can meet in another meeting, and then we go ahead and adopt it. Like that, we take a sample of what Ambazonians want, and then we can go ahead and implement it, instead of us just forcing down on people's throat something that they might have wanted to have it another way. That's a suggestion which I'm throwing to the house.
I think that.
I second that motion. Yeah.
My idea to that is that it's good for us to give them some small introduction about it. It's gonna pave the way for them to be able to digest what's inside there. You know, just some introduction, and they see a little bit before they go, and then they are going to dig deeper. So they need some incentive.
Yeah, I second that.
Do we have time?
And then besides, you know, the main item for today was the bylaws, so we can't instantly expect that one. No.
I don't think that we are leaving it out. The goal was that you can make a summary of the bylaws, maybe just with a few, and then you give them the bylaws so that people actually have time to go ahead, because people have to digest the concept of a permanent secretariat for all Ambazonians. So I think it would just be fair for us to give time, and then we adjourn the meeting, given that we started late and we could not be able to present the bylaws as desired, so people could understand before we go ahead to adopt it.
I'm going to be very brief.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other thoughts or comments?
Okay, while he's getting ready, I can read some comments here. Okay, so I can't do that anymore. But basically the comments were supporting ideas that were posted, and there was something from Comrade Chris Messner about if we can get the chiefs to say something about Amhec. I'm not quoting him, but better.
Okay.
He said something, if I paraphrase, like, what about us reaching out to the chiefs of our land and getting their blessing?
That is very, very technical. Those people are in the lion's den, so we have to be very careful and be very tactful. Just like Mamadi said, we have to be very careful. We have to be cognizant of the fact that our people who are on ground zero are in the lion's den, and we have to be careful how we approach them.
And unfortunately, as you said, I'm in Europe. I am about to go to work now, but let me just take this few minutes and ask this question. At what level are you with your consultation?
Okay, what do you mean by consultation? Consultation within Ambazonia or consultation?
Within Ambazonia.
We have a WhatsApp group that is open to all Ambazonians, and invitations were sent out for people to join in.
So you leave it at the level of just like leaving it open for people to join, or you do contact? You actually contact people to talk to them idea, sell your market the idea, and convince them, or you just leave the group open?
No, in the group we're talking about what we're doing. So what we have not, we have decided not to do.
As the case between Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon, the will of the people is sorted out. It's called the right to self-determination. And only the people in that territory have the right to decide on their future. It's not an Amhec thing. It's not a thing that was crafted only in law. It is an international jurisprudence. It is practiced everywhere. When Britain was part of European Union and it wanted to leave, the people called for a Brexit. That is, they sample the minds of their people to determine what they want. So referendum is not something which you can politically negotiate it alone. No. Referendum is your human right. When there is a dispute on sovereignty, referendum is always the case. It happened in 1961 because our people could not agree if to join Nigeria or La République. So they made us to vote in a referendum. So each time the people's sovereignty is in question, as is the case with us, a referendum is prescribed. It is a law. It is not us saying we are going to go negotiate with La République. And for a referendum to hold, there are already inbuilt mechanisms. We are not going to be the one to say, can we beg La République for it? No. Once the people come together and they decide that we want the right to self-determination, same thing that Ayok said while he was in jail. He said the people shall determine the right to self-determination, which means our people will decide. It is not for groups to say we want this or we want that. No. The will of groups doesn't triumph the will of the people. That is the education that Amhec wants to bring to the people. That being a people, you benefit from some of these things. It is inborn. It's an inalienable right in international public law. So I don't want us to really bother about the referendum issue a lot. It is going to come naturally. That is the natural order of things. The war must end, and it must end with a referendum, with the people deciding their future. So I don't want us to really focus on that. Let's first focus on bringing our people together, accepting our unique identity. We are not part of Cameroon. We have never been part of them, and we will never be part of them. So let us first agree on that. And the idea of a referendum or a negotiated settlement or whatever people are saying, we're going to simply follow the law. There is a law that governs all of these things. So we are not reinventing the wheel. So I hope I answered that question, and we can now move forward, focusing on community mobilization, organization, and education. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Liman. Thank you. You broke that thing down very well. I'll call on Catherine C. to wind up, or if Dennis wants to say a word or two, Catherine can round up for us.
I think somebody's hands was up. If they put it down, that's fine. But I have nothing more to say than you guys have said it all. We cannot continue in dysfunctionality. And again, Amhec is not against Ambazonians going out to talk. We cannot solve a problem by not talking. And Amhec is not to tell Ambazonians if to go and talk or not to go to the talks. Amhec supports every initiative that brings Ambazonians together and that will bring peace to our people. Again, Amhec's position is neutral on any talks because Ambazonians are free to talk to whoever they want to talk to, how they want to talk to. But Amhec will always provide the education needed on how some of these things could be done because we have a lot of people who are put to specialize in those fields in Amhec. So thank you guys very much, and I will just yield so that C can go ahead. Thank you, C.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Uncle Vince. I mean, I really don't have much to say, but I just really want us to get our minds out of frustration, and then we start thinking. And at the beginning of this struggle, we started off with
good job.
Diplomacy versus self. It started off.
You've cooked rice before.
The power, the force of argument versus the argument of force, and then at some point, now it went to self-defense against diplomacy. And so now I see Ambazonians being divided into negotiations versus the fighting. You know, there's nothing like that. There's nothing, we're not versus people. So we are going to talk. You know, when people who fight and not talk, they just fight and die, and then nothing they fought about was, you know, comes to fruition. So we're gonna talk and we're gonna fight. So there is nothing like, there's no reason to be frustrated about the fact that fighting is not going on the ground and people are out here talking. Because you have to represent the people who are fighting on the ground. If you're not out here, if you're not on the ground fighting, granted, you're sending contributions to the ground or whatever you're doing, but you are not there fighting. When your $1, your $50 goes to the ground, I'm going to be very, very, very blunt. When your $50 goes to ground zero, somebody takes that and spends days in the bush. And so what else are you doing?